नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Welcome devotees to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26 and text number 2. So Chapter 26 is the fundamental principles of material nature. So we read extensively from Kapila Dev talking to his mother Devahuti about the Sankhya philosophy and the values of devotional service. So we will be continuing about the principles of material nature. ज्ञानं निःश्रेयस अर्थाय पुरुषस्यात्मदर्शनं यद् आहुर्वर्णे वर्णये तत्ते हृदयग्रन्थिभेदनं ज्ञानं निःश्रेयस अर्थाय पुरुषात्मा दर्शनं यत् आहुर्वर्णये तत्ते हृदयग्रन्थिभेदनं. Synonyms: Jnanam, knowledge. Nishreyas arthaya, for ultimate perfection. Purushasya, of a man. Atma darsanam, self-realization. Yat, which. Ahu, they said. Varnaya, I shall explain. Tat, that. Te, to you. Hridaya, in the heart. Granthi, the knots. Bedanam, cuts. Translation: knowledge is the ultimate perfection of self realization. I shall explain that knowledge unto you by which the knots of attachment to the material world are cut. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is said that by proper understanding of the pure self or by self realization, one can be freed from material attachment. Knowledge leads one to attain ultimate perfection of life and to see oneself as he is. The Svetaswara Upanishad 3.8 also confirms this. Tam yeva viditvati mrityum yeti. Simply by understanding one's spiritual position or by seeing oneself as he is, one can be freed from material entanglement. In various ways, the seeing of oneself is described in the Vedic literatures and it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam. Purushasya Atma Darshanam, that one has to see oneself and know what he is. As Kapiladeva explains to his mother, this seeing can be done by hearing from proper authoritative source. Kapiladeva is the greatest authority because he is the personality of Godhead. And if someone accepts whatever is explained as it is without interpretation, then he can see himself. Lord Chaitanya explained to Sanatana Goswami the real constitutional position of the individual. He said directly that each and every individual soul is eternally a servitor of Krishna. Jivera Surupaya Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Every individual soul is eternally a servitor. When one is fixed in the understanding that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul and that his real position is to serve in association with the Supreme Lord, he becomes self realized. This position of rightly understanding oneself cuts the knots of material attraction, Hridaya Granthi Bedanam. Due to false ego or false identification of oneself with the body and the material world, one is entrapped by Maya. But as soon as one understands that he is qualitatively the same substance as the Supreme Lord, because he belongs to the same category of spirit soul, and that his perpetual position is to serve, one attains Atma Darshanam and Hridaya Granthi Bedanam, self realization. When one can cut the knot of attachment to the material world, his understanding is called knowledge. Atma Darsana means to see oneself by knowledge. Therefore, when one is freed from false ego by cultivation of real knowledge, he sees himself, and that is the ultimate necessity of human life. The soul is thus isolated from the entanglement by the 24 categories of material nature. Pursuit of the systematic philosophic process called Sankhya is called knowledge and self realization. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य घनाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातं अहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome devotees and very good morning. So today we will read from Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 3, text, canto 3, chapter 26, which is the fundamental principles of material nature, and text number 2. I seek the blessings of all assembled devotees, my spiritual master, and to Srila Prabhupada, and to our deity Shri Shri Nitai Gaurachandra, so that I can speak something about this wonderful verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks the methodology of how to cut the material, how to cut the knots from the heart and attached from material to spiritual. So here, Srila Kapila Deva is talking to his mother Devahuti about the principles of material nature. So, every living entity has something called consciousness. So this consciousness is the symptom of life. Okay. So consciousness is the symptom. This consciousness is spread all over our body. So what is this consciousness means? This consciousness means that I exist. I know that I exist. So how can we compare that, the principles of existence? So I am the soul, okay, but I know that I exist in this world, whereas the table or the chair or this laptop that which we are using does not know about its existence. It is simply there, it operates and it's functional, but it does not have the understanding it exists. So this consciousness is there in all living entities. Even an insignificant ant, okay, that has its consciousness. So let's say that you see an ant and it's moving from one place to other, and you block the ant. You put some covering so that you create a boundary. It tries to move here and there because it is going towards some direction or some purpose. Okay, so it knows its existence. It is trying to avoid the blockage and move further. Okay, and Srila Prabhupada says that every conscious being has knowledge, and the knowledge is in terms of the ants or the living entity. The knowledge is more grounded towards eating, sleeping, mating, defending, or in other words, animalistic propensity of life. Okay, so talking about evolution, so we talked about the small tiny creatures. Okay, if you go to beach and you see sand and water, under the sand, or even if you take some amount of a sand, you can see so many living creatures that are in the sand. And the from that small living creatures, uh, they have the evolution progress to plants. The plants, and from plants to insects. And the insects desires to fly. Srila Prabhupada talk about insects at the end of life has a strong desire to fly, and in the next life the insects is given with wings so that it can fly. So it progress to a body that has wings and it can fly. And from the tiny flying creature, it promotes or it progress to high flying birds like eagles. And then from eagles, the evolution progress to beast like some birds to beast, like lion, tigers. And the progression still continues to human, and the human can be classified as uncivilized men and civilized human. So it could be uncivilized or civilized. So in all this evolution progress, there is knowledge, there is consciousness, because they know they exist. But the limitation of the consciousness and the limitations of the knowledge varies on the rank of evolution. And we talked about civilized human. Among the civilized human, we have the Aryas, and Aryas means the civilized human, and we have the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudras. And out of this, the Brahmanas, by quality, they have the highest consciousness and highest knowledge. So, consciousness and knowledge are paired, okay? They have a proper responsibility, and the human is subject to karma factor, because accountability is when you get a higher position, and the purpose of the human life is not to act like animalistic propensity, like which we talked about earlier, about focusing only on eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And the human life is this is where the knowledge has to be utilized, and they have the higher responsibility. So this verse is also talking about Nishreyas Arthaya. Shreya means long standing and ultimate. So Shreya is always about longer duration, a long standing with ultimate benefit. The ultimate benefit, Shreya Uttamam, okay, that is the ultimate benefit. And Preya, Preya on other end means that something which is immediately satisfied, immediate satisfaction, a urge to get immediate satisfaction. So animals are in the category of immediate satisfaction or the preya. They don't have the shreya or the understanding of ultimate benefit. But whereas the human, especially civilized men, they have to make use of this lifetime opportunity. So people generally say so life is short, make use of it, and they go to various places and they misuse the life in the aspect of a prayer, in immediate satisfaction or immediate gratification of a senses. But that is not the purpose of life is short and to make use of it. So life is short, especially in Kali Yuga. The maximum life that one can live is only 100 years, but in the 100 years, how much we are making use? Half of the time is spent in sleeping, okay? We need rest to the body, we need food, all those things are fine, but the the human life, the ultimate purpose is to obtain the knowledge, Atma Darshanam, self realization, which the Atma Darshanam, Purushasya Atma Darshanam, in the second verse, second line of this verse is very significant. So, Srila Prabhupada is talking that highest perfection. He also, Krishna is saying, what is the highest perfection? The highest perfection in Bhagavad Gita on the chapter 8, Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, text number 15. Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam asashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhi paramam gata. Samsiddhim paramam gata. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. So, the great yogis in devotion who have attained the highest perfection, so they are not interested in this temporary world, the material world. Material world is called as a dukkhalayam asashvatam. Those are the characteristics of this material world which is full of miseries. Okay, so they are not interested. Anything that you show them is whether it is a sense gratification or opulence, they are not interested. So they, what is their interest of those Mahatmana? They are interested in samsiddhim paramam gata. The paramam gata, paramam means the supreme and gata is a shelter. They are only in the association with the supreme Lord Krishna, where in the Krishna loka, not in any other loka. They are not even interested to scale down or bump down from the requirements. They are pretty strong and they are one focus. Okay, and they operate in that a platform of paramam gata in serving the Lord, and they totally understood that is the highest perfection. So when you come to this verse, back to what Kapila Deva is speaking, this knowledge. Where do we get this knowledge? This knowledge is coming from Vedas. Vedas, Vedic literature is full of knowledge. So we learned from Vedas talk about Nigama Kalpataru. So Kalpataru, which is very important. There are um, trees in the spiritual world. Okay, so we also are familiar with the trees. We see tree, um, um, let's say a coconut tree, okay, or a mango tree. A coconut tree can give coconut. A mango tree can give mangoes. Okay, but is there any tree in the material world, one single tree which can give any fruit that we desire? No, it is not here. But the Vedas is talking that in spiritual world there is a tree called Kalpa Vriksha. It is not in the material world, it is in the spiritual world. Where we get this information? This is being talked in Brahma Samhita. Chintamani prakarasatma shakalpa vriksha lakshávriteshu surabhir abhipalayantam Lakshmi sagasra sadasam brahma sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So, this kalpa vriksha, this it's Brahma Samhita, where Lord Brahma is offering prayers. Okay, there are trees which can fulfill the desire, any desire. Okay, but of course, when you say any desire, the entity, the living entity in spiritual world and living entity in material world is different. A living entity in spiritual world, living entity is nothing but Purusha. The every living entity is associated towards the desire of association with Krishna. They don't have any selfish or desire that I want to enjoy separately in the pure consciousness. Whereas in this material world, it is different. Like we have mixed consciousness or we have even low consciousness sometimes. So they are attached in association with Krishna or to satisfy the needs of Krishna or to how to serve the Krishna. Spiritual world is very dynamic and it is varieties of service. So they contemplate on how can I serve Krishna? How can I be with Krishna? How can I massage Krishna's legs? Or how can I play with Krishna? Always constant, the consciousness. Consciousness means being present, okay, and to engage. So their thoughts, action, body, mind, and words are always associated in serving Krishna. And Chintamani. Chintamani means touchstone. We are very familiar with varieties of stones and rocks here in this material world. We build a house based on stones, but the touchstone or the Chintamani, it has the ability when it is touched and iron, it converts to gold. So spiritual world, you can see lot of opulences in gold. Krishna is full of opulences. There cannot be anyone who has equal or higher than the opulences of Krishna. So all these things are available. We get this knowledge from Vedic scriptures about the Krishna Loka and association. And when we talk about association, here our bodies are made up of material thing, earth, water, fire, okay, air, ether, so all the material elements, whereas the spiritual body is all about Satchit Ananda, knowledge, bliss, and eternal things. So here the material consciousness is dull in nature compared to spiritual consciousness, which is very high and in awareness. The real knowledge is, here it says Atma Darshanam. So Kapila Muni is saying that Atma Darshanam means how to see oneself. Atma is the soul and Darshanam is seeing the soul. So you have to see the soul. What is the position of the soul? What is my position or what is our position? So we are part and parcels of Krishna, and we our position is we are servant of Krishna, we are servant of a servant of servant. Okay, so we see this. How do we see this? We see through hearing. So this is not something that we can perceive from our material eyes, but we can perceive this from hearing or through hearing from authoritative sources, from that are coming from disciplic successions. Spiritual Master, Srila Prabhupada, and the generations above Srila Prabhupada in a disciplic succession. He has given everything, and we can see how this Atma Darshanam, when we understand the real knowledge about our position, okay, we understand our position as servant. Okay, what is the next action as a servant? Action as a servant is to engage in service. That is the dharma. So, like we know, the sweetness, sugar has the dharma sweetness, and heat, the fire has a heat. Okay, so similarly, the human life or the soul, the purpose of the soul is to serve. Serve is the action that is associated, and that is the dharma for the soul. So Atma Darshanam and service, they go together. When we know that my position is servant, Jivera Surupaya Nityere Krishna Dasa. I am a Krishna Dasa and I have to engage in the service. That is the real knowledge. And this real knowledge means that I have no it means that what is I was trying to say? So I'm not I'm covered in material world. I'm entrapped by Maya. But once we get the real knowledge of Atma Darshanam, which means like I'm no longer this body and I'm no longer covered by any upadhis or um, material designations, like I am not an American, I am not an Indian, or I am not a weak person, I am not a strong person, I am not rich, I am not poor. These are all varieties of upadhis that covers us. Our position is very same, that we, even though we are entrapped in this body in and we covered by material consciousness, but our real original position is I am always the servant of Krishna, or servant of his Krishna or Krishna's devotees. That is our real. Once we get into the knowledge and we know about the Vedic scriptures, which gives the clarity what is the other side, from the other side of the window, which is the spiritual world, where Krishna is Krishna is not impersonal. Krishna is always with someone. You cannot see Krishna alone. He is with Radharani, or he is with Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, or he Balaram, or with his cowherd friends, or with gopis. So he is always just like and Brahma Samhita also talks about, like he is Gopal, and he is associating with the cows, the Surabhi cows. We are familiar with the cows which can give milk mostly two times, morning and the evening, if if the cow is quite healthy. Okay, but the Surabhi cows are anytime they can provide milk. Okay, and he is being served by thousands of Lakshmis. So, goddess of fortune, not one goddess of fortune, thousands of goddess of fortune is serving Krishna on the other side. So, once we get the knowledge from our side, we have to realize, okay, this is the one which I have to go, rather than suffering from this constant battle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So, this is the opportunity in the human form of life to cut the knots. So, how do we cut the knots? In chapter 25, text number 20, it talks about sadhus association. Once we get sadhus association, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says even one moment of association, lava matra, sadhu, sangha. So that is going to transform, or that is going to convince our action. Somehow or other, we have the fortune of associating with devotees, and by their causeless mercy, that our life is being touched and we have been accepted in Krishna's family through the merciful devotees of Srila Prabhupada. And we are in a position to chant, and this chanting is the constant connection to our Supreme Lord. So, what is happening? Our attachment shift from material to spiritual by the process. So that is the one which is cutting. So to recap, Atma Darshanam, self-realization of our position as the servant of a Krishna. That is our original thing. Atma Darshana. When you see internally yourself, you see that I am not this person, that person, I'm servant of a Krishna. And the outcome of that self-realization, Atma Darsanam, leads to Hridaya Granthi Bedanam, it cuts the knots. It cuts the knots that we have. So this is very positive verse that is giving confidence that this lifetime has to be, this is the one and only chance in our human form of life to take it seriously, understand our consciousness, understand about the evolution that we have come through, and make use of it seriously and take it towards Krishna. Um, to see what is on the other world, other side, spiritual world is fascinating, is mesmerizing. Think about playing with Krishna. Think about like one of the friends of a Krishna. That's a wonderful thing to contemplate. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to read and speak about these words. And if there are any mistakes or anything that I have said, please feel free to talk about that in the discussion. And thank you again.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. I was inspired by the point, the Shreya, the ultimate benefit. And, even Jyotirmaya Mataji made this point the other day. She quoted the marshmallow experiment. Today you spoke about the animals, and the other day the marshmallow experiment was with children. So it's almost like, we are being either animalistic or childish when we lose sight of the ultimate goal or the ultimate benefit and do things that are just for the immediate satisfaction of the senses, or whatnot. And how damaging is that? So this is a self reflection, not for anything else. So this is what was inspiring for me. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. I know the fact that um, how to transform the pain to strength. Like immediately we have the urge to grab it, because there is a jar full of crabs, and if we try to move up to grab something, the other crabs is going to pull you down. We are very used with that Indian concept. So we always are in that mode, like, okay, I have to take this, the um, urge from the senses or the environment, or, there are many factors. So you're not alone in that club, Mataji. We are also there. so, so yes, the Shreya and Preya is very eye-opening when I had the opportunity to read about it. Thank you for your comment, Mataji. All right, I think it's 8:04. If
Hare
there are
Krishna Prabhuji, very wonderful class as you are saying about the evolution. What touched my heart is how precious is the human life that we got. We went through all those stages, how many millions of years, or I don't know how many lifetimes it took. So we are finally here, and we are not taking good care of the human life that we earned with so much of hard effort of us. That's what I'm feeling. Very wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. All right. I don't want to take any of your Friday morning time. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you, devotees.